you give me ring, boy, mash up the thing, boy. See the position of you whining.
मेरी सोना रे सोना रे सोना रे दे दूंगी जान जुदा मत होना रे मैंने तुझे बड़ी देर में जाना हुआ कसूर खफा मत होना रे मैंने तुझे बड़ी देर में जाना हुआ कसूर खफा मत होना रे ओ मेरी सोना रे सोना रे
Position, see me position, position. See me back then, boy, see me position. Before you give me ring, boy, mash up the thing, boy. See me position for the whining. Then beat it, give me like a cherry pon red. Neither like me, you are pushing your tread. No bother, sorry if you cry on me, cause boy, me that plate and me what is then.
मेरी बाहों से निकल के तू अगर मेरे रास्ते से हट जाएगा तू लहरा के अपल खा के मेरा साया तेरे तन से लिपट जाएगा तुम छुड़ाओ लाख ताना जोड़ते हैं कवे अरमान हिले भी साथ रहोगे रहोगे जहाँ ओ
We need women who are so strong they can be gentle, so educated they can be humble, so fierce they can be compassionate, so passionate they can be rational, and so disciplined they can be free. Kavita Ramdas, welcome to Get Real with Shameeza. I'm your host, Shameeza Ali, and it is a pleasure to be here with you this evening. Salam, namaste, and good evening to everyone joining us on Facebook, YouTube, on Island Zone Radio, and on NTN Channel 69 in Georgetown, Guyana. If you're watching this, thank you for watching at this time. It is a pleasure having you here. Tonight, we continue our woman on our journey of Women's History Month and celebration of strong women in our community. From a victim of domestic abuse to finding the love of her life. Tonight, we will speak to the woman who did all of that. But first, please take a moment and share this live with your friends and family because you don't want them to miss the story. March is Women's History Month, and we are proud to dedicate this entire month to tell stories of incredible women in our community. Please drop a name of a woman that inspires you in the comments. Tonight's giveaway is compliments of Vermin Medesi, Women's Foundation, and BuyEasy.com. Here is your chance to win this prize, to win that box. Last week, we spoke to Dr. Vindhya Prasad. What is her father's name? Again, I'll repeat that question for you. Last week, we spoke to Dr. Vindhya Prasad. What is her father's name? That is your chance to win a giveaway for tonight, compliments of Foreman Bidesi. While you do that, we will go ahead and listen to a message from our sponsors. See you in a moment.
Hibiscus has been a flagship restaurant in our community for a very long time. Come dine with us and enjoy our excellent food, drinks and service at any one of our many locations. We are located on 12418 101 Avenue and 22113 Jamaica Avenue. Hibiscus at Elliott's on the Mile in Freeport is one of our newest locations, along with 12402 Rockaway Boulevard. In Guyana at 91 Middle Street, Georgetown. Bring your family and friends and come visit us soon.
M&R Fire Fest is one of the newest hotspot in Richmond Hill. If you're looking to have a fun time or just chill, this lounge is the place to be. We celebrate all occasions and our live entertainment and drink specials are amazing. We are located at 13123 Liberty Avenue. Come check us out and see what everyone is talking about.
Mandy's Cake Creations, serving traditional rum black cake with almond paste and royal icing. Non-alcoholic is also an option. Catering is available. Personalize your cakes and boxed favors for your birthday, engagements, weddings, work events and more. Shipping is also available within the United States. Please contact Mandy at 917-294-3500 on Instagram Mandy Cake Creations and on Facebook Amanda Khan. Mandy's Cakes, a taste to bring you back home.
Flamingo Restaurant and Mantra Lounge. We are NYC's premier Caribbean restaurant and lounge, specializing in authentic West Indian, Chinese and Caribbean cuisine. Open every day for lunch and late nights. For delivery, find us on Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless and DoorDash. Visit our rooftop lounge upstairs on the weekends for a fun-filled night. We cater and take bookings for private events. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Flamingo Mantra. Our address is 120-06 Rockaway Boulevard, telephone 7188351000.
Right, we are back and I'm excited. Our guest for tonight, and keep in mind everyone, we are dedicating this entire hour to our guest because her story is one of tremendous importance. It's story of a woman, a strong woman who's been able to overcome a lot to be where she is today. I ask for your complete respect tonight, and you are welcome to comment, but please make sure that we keep it, very respectful because we want to make sure that our guest is not offended and she feels respected telling her story. She is a mother of four with a story of resilience and perseverance that weaves through the terror of domestic violence and a relationship based on lies to happiness. Please welcome Sandy Maeck. Sandy, welcome to the show. How are you? Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. I see the background. I'm loving it, and we'll discuss all of that in a moment. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm a wife, a loving wife to a wonderful man, and I have four children, all grown. My oldest is 34, and then I have a daughter who's 32, 31, and then I have a son who's still at home, and he's going to be 26 in a few weeks. I have three beautiful grandchildren.
Wow! Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will never tell had you not said that. I will never be able to tell that you have grandkids and such older kids as well. So
Thank you.
you look great. Keep up whatever you're doing. Please keep that up. So you grew up in Guyana.
Yes.
Where in Guyana did you grow up?
In Kitty, Georgetown, Guyana.
Georgetown, Guyana. And at a very young age, you got married. You had an arranged marriage. Tell us about that.
So I was just finished 18, and the proposal came from Canada. My parents knew the family, of course, from Guyana. And that's a long story. They knew the family because we had someone who used to live with us. The family kind of like mined him back home, and then he got married to my ex-husband's sister, and that's how the relationship with my parents and his parents started. And then when they moved to Canada, they were always jokingly saying that one of my parents' daughter would get married to one of their sons. I never thought it was going to be me. Actually, it was not me that the proposal came for. It was my sister, my older sister. Um, and at the time, she had already fallen in love with a Muslim guy. So, and back home, Hindus and Muslims, it didn't go at all. And so she was afraid to tell my parents that she had fallen in love with a Muslim guy. And so when the proposal came, they begged me to take the place instead of her because my parents couldn't say no. They had already made that promise that one of their daughters would get married to one of these people's son. So ultimately, it was me. I was 18 going, I think, yeah, I was 18. Yeah.
Okay. So the proposal came in, it went to you. So he comes in, obviously you have to accept, right? Because you don't have much of an option. You accept. And when did you meet him?
So I met him, I think a couple of days before the Maticore night. I think it was like the Wednesday or something like that. And then we got married on a Saturday.
So that's about 2 days before. So
Yeah,
you
two
get
or 3 days
married now.
before. Yeah.
You guys are married and you're ready to take on life together. And what was that like for you?
So after we got married, he came back to Canada, and I was still there for about 6 months. I had already gotten my. Well, let me tell you about the wedding. It was not very comfortable getting married to someone that you didn't know or you didn't love, and having to go to bed with someone that is almost like a stranger to you. It's unbelievably uncomfortable and awkward, and it was just very, very awkward for both of us. And although we like he wasn't unfriendly or he wasn't rude or anything like that, he was very nice. He was a very nice person. Like my family, everybody liked him. My sisters, they loved him. So it wasn't uncomfortable, but I was not happy. I didn't want to get married. I wanted to be a teacher. And so when I got my visa, I hid it under my bed for 3 months because I didn't want to come to Canada. And so eventually I came, and that too was awkward. Um, it was a house full of people that I came to, that people that I never met before, people that I don't know. It was just very uncomfortable.
Now, this is quite common, right? In our society, people get arranged marriages, right? You and in
Yes,
this case, it was overseas marriage, right? So
yes,
you come to Canada, here you are living in Canada now with a family that you have to adapt to, right? In a country that you have to adapt to, and with a new husband that you didn't know much,
no,
right?
no.
Um, now, what would you say at any point that you loved him?
I liked him.
You
I don't
liked
think, no, I don't think we ever loved each other. We liked each other. We probably, if we didn't get married,
him. Yeah,
we would have been good friends.
good friends. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're in Canada living. Tell us what happens next.
So when I came to Canada, like I said, I was very young. I never left Guyana. I never went anywhere. I never slept anywhere except, my house and my grandparents' house. So that in itself was, it was the most loneliest year that I had before my family came up to Canada. It was, I used to walk on down the road because I didn't want anybody to see me cry. I used to walk down the road and I would cry on the road and then come back home.
Now, are you crying because you are lonely from missing your family back home? Or are you lonely because you're not happy in your relationship?
I would say it was both. I was missing my family. I was missing my sisters very much, but I was also extremely lonely. And he tried, but we didn't have that connection yet. And he had a lot of friends that I didn't know, and I was uncomfortable because first of all, I never had friends like white friends before, so that too, it's in itself was uncomfortable. Didn't know what to say, didn't know how to speak. I had a heavy Guyanese accent. So I was embarrassed, so I didn't used to speak. I was just used to stay by myself.
Okay. And fast forward, you're pregnant.
I'm
You
pregnant.
got pregnant soon after.
Yes.
Okay.
That was uncomfortable because I had, if you read my book, and I recommend that you read the book. The book is similar to my story, and the reason why the book is written in a third party is because I didn't want it to be written as me because of legal issues, that I didn't want to run into any legal issues. So it's written as a third party, but the story in itself is very similar to what I went through. And so when I was pregnant with my first child, I was abused, like sexually, while I was pregnant.
Wow. By your husband.
Yes.
Uh, what did you do at that time?
Prayed, prayed to God, and um I didn't have no place to go. I didn't know what to do. Um and at the time also wasn't um I was not aware that you could be sexually abused by your husband. I didn't realize that sexual abuse can happen in the marriage. So I thought it was normal. I was very young. I was very naive. And looking back now, I would not wish that upon anybody. It was
Looking
very
back, do you think that there is anything that you could have done differently at that time?
looking back now. Yes, I could have probably told someone because I was at work. I was working. I could have said something to somebody. I could have shared my story with people, but I didn't. I didn't know how. First of all, I was ashamed. I also felt guilty, and there was a
Mm.
lot of pain. So I didn't know how to do that. So I just kept it to myself.
Now, your parents joined you at one point, about a year or two after you went to Canada.
Hmm.
According to the book, your parents joined you. Was that an option to tell your parents what was happening in your relationship, the abuse, Well, do you think that maybe that could have changed things, or was that an embarrassment too, to be able to tell?
It was an embarrassment, and also I didn't want to embarrass my parents, and I didn't want my parents. So maybe we should step back a little bit and let me tell you how my dad came to Canada. So my dad had had to flee Guyana because of police brutality, because of military raids on our homes, and also because he had a high-ranking job in the government, and he was getting a lot of opposition from the opposite party. And so one night he was like brutally beaten while he was walking home with my mom from going for a walk. And so subsequently he had to flee, like without telling anybody. So he was in the States illegally when I came to Canada. So my dad wasn't there when I got married. It didn't say that in the book, but that's the truth. Was he wasn't there when I got married. Only my mother was there, and my mother actually wanted to walk away from the marriage because my ex-husband's father was so rude to her, and because she was a woman, he was like putting her down, um, and putting me down because like he was just kind of narcissist, right? And
Right.
so she wanted to leave. Anyway, so my dad was in the States, and so they helped my dad to come to Canada, um, legally, because my dad had to like claim refugee and all that in at the border, and he had to prove that he was beaten by the police and things like that. So eventually he was able to come to Canada. So for me, I felt like our family owed this family, and I couldn't leave
Right.
because it was something that we were obliged. I was obliged to stay because they've been so helpful to my family, and helped my family to come to Canada.
So you went there, you had, how many kids did you have before you start working?
Um, when I started working, I had my oldest son.
Okay. Now, what was your relationship like with his family? Because you were living with them, right? Just for anyone who's watching and didn't hear this, Sandy was living with his family in an apartment,
No, in a house.
in a house.
Yeah, in a town. We first lived in a townhouse, and we were living with a lot of people. So it was myself and my ex-husband, my in-laws, like my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, his brother, and the brother's two children. Actually, children, three sons. And then at one time we had his sister, her husband, and her two kids were living with us as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your relationship like with the family?
I got along very well with my mother-in-law. I still do, and I still respect her to this day. I wouldn't say anything bad about her. She has never treated me bad, and I don't think she had a choice. She was stuck in the middle.
Okay.
Um, my father-in-law and I, we had an on and off relationship. We both used to like to cook, so so we got along in the kitchen, but that was it.
So you're working, you have your kids, and the abuse continues. Is that correct?
So yeah, so I had a lot of obstacles from my sister-in-laws, except for the older one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had like the younger ones give me a very hard time, and even though they know that their brother was wrong, um, I got a very hard relationship I had with them, on and off, on and off, you know.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So what I'm hearing is that here you are, right? You living with an abusive husband, and then you also have sister-in-laws that you're dealing with. That's and not exactly what you will need at a time when you're going through so much, and you're raising kids and you have a job. Uh, I feel there's a lot happening there in this story. And what is your mindset like? What are you thinking? Because this is a lot for one person to deal with.
Um, I yes, the now that I had my son, I didn't want to go anywhere. I actually wanted my relationship to work, and I wanted to be, like to be a good wife, and have a good home and a good family. I actually wanted to move out from there. So the abuse started right from when I had my son. That's when the abuse started, and
Okay.
it never stopped from then.
Now, I do see a question that's asking, Bash is asking, did he physically did he physically abuse?
Oh yeah,
Is what she's asking.
oh yeah,
Explain it, because a lot of times I think abuse and molestation, all these words can come across a little bit different for different
yeah.
people.
Because yeah, abuse is like an umbrella of all different things. So I
Right.
was physically abused by being kicked in my stomach a lot, and one time I did ask my ex-husband, why did you only hit me in the stomach? And he said to me, that's because there was no marks. If you hit your stomach, there's no marks.
So was
So
it only in
I
your
wasn't beaten in the face. I wasn't beaten in the arm. I wasn't beaten in my legs. I was beaten in my belly. And unfortunately, that's telling on me now. I had to have my appendix removed at like a late age, which is rare. And that's one of the reasons we're looking into having hypothyroidism. It's from being abused as a child. So
that he will hit in your stomach because there is no evidence there. So your stomach doesn't get any bruises or
I
marks
have
from.
a broken rib, and I didn't know at the time that it was broken. So unfortunately, it never got fixed. So I can't sleep on my right side. It hurts me to this day.
A broken rib from the abuse.
Yeah.
So, wow. Now the abuse and everything that you're speaking of is something that, as I can see Amelia is saying, it's something that a lot of women go through regularly,
Yes.
right? There's so many women who are still going through this even today. Do you think coming out and speaking to it has its effects? Do you ever regret coming out and telling your story?
Not at all. Not at all. I I'm so proud that I was brave enough to do this. It took a lot of determination, and at first I had so much self-doubt. I had so much like I didn't want to believe that I can do this. So I had so much self-doubt about if I can do this and if I can tell my story. Um, but I have no regrets. Telling my story has brought so many women to me, and so many women that connected with me saying that, I've got a similar thing happened to me. I had a similar story like that. My ex-husband used to beat me. My husband's beating me. Like, or my husband's financially abusing me, or I'm being emotionally abused. I'm being sexually abused, and there's no regret at all, because now I'm giving the voice to the people who were like me, who were ashamed, who didn't have a voice, who were too scared to tell their story.
You're giving the voice to them, and there is so much more to come from your story. But at this time, we're going to take a quick break from our sponsors. We'll hear a word. We'll be right back.
Kai Chu Restaurant has been serving our community for over 25 years. We offer an enticing selection of West Indian traditional dishes along with a fully stocked bar. Bring your family and friends to our newly renovated dining room to celebrate your special occasion or event with us. We do catering and we also deliver. Kai Chu has 2 locations to choose from. Support our community and eat local. Looking for something to get rid of that fine line wrinkles? Well, look no further.
You can now indulge yourself with Truly Flawless. This one-of-a-kind, anti-aging caviar luxury face cream will give you that youthful-looking glow again. It's not only for you ladies, men can also benefit from this product too. Try it for yourself and see results within a week. Check out our website at www.trulyflawlessskincare.com and on Amazon Prime. We are also excited to launch our newest skincare products coming in March 2022.
Enos Driving School offers training for CDL licenses, including tractor trailers, trucks, and school buses. Just think, with a CDL license, you can have access to thousands of driving jobs at large companies such as FedEx, UPS, MTA, or New York Sanitation. Enos Driving School also offers defensive driving courses and training classes for cars and motorcycles, all taught by their college-trained instructors who can even schedule your road test appointments. Inquire about other driving and training packages as well. You might even be qualified for their free CDL training, as they are a certified institution with the New York State Workforce One program. Call Enos Driving School today. They've been serving our community for over 10 years.
Sherry's Weakness for Sweetness is a family-owned and operated bakery with a West Indian flair. We specialized in custom cakes, decorative desserts, and a contemporary spin on traditional West Indian cuisine. We are located at 114-07 Jamaica Avenue. Hours of operations are Tuesday through Friday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Memories should always be this sweet. Come visit us today.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Sandy, we are back, and there is so much more to this story. So here you are, you're living through the abuse, and you have nowhere or no one to turn to. What are you feeling? What are you thinking at this point? Are you looking for a way out? Are you thinking there is no way out, so I'm just gonna stay and deal with this? Like, what are you feeling? Like, there are other women out there listening to this right now. They've either been through it or they're going through it right now. Tell
So
us.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So after I had the first child, I did leave and I went to my mom's place. And like relentlessly, my ex-husband came. He was begging my mom, he was begging my dad for me to come back. And so I remember clearly this was on Valentine's Day. He begged them to take me out for Valentine's Day. And he wanted to spend, the weekend with me. And so my parents babysat my son. And I did go. And I got pregnant with Chantel.
Pregnant.
Got pregnant. So here I am, pregnant again. So couldn't leave. And when I was pregnant with my second daughter, I was very sick. So leaving was not an option. And I was most of the time I was in bed.
Okay. So you have all three kids at this point. How
Right.
many years into the marriage?
8 years.
8 years into the marriage, you have three kids. It's not getting better according to the
Nope.
book.
No.
It's not
Still
getting
living
better.
with the in-laws.
Okay. Now, what happens? And you're working at this point. He's excited because you have a paycheck now. First, he didn't want you to work. When you started working, he's excited because there is an income. Tell us what happens next.
That income was not mine. That income, I actually had a very good job. I was working for Bell Canada, and people who live in Canada would know. And I was working in the HR department. I used to hire people for Bell Canada. And he would drop me to work on Wednesday mornings so that I can come down and give him my paycheck. And everybody at work knew that, because as soon as I got my paycheck, I'd walk outside and give him the paycheck. People in my department, they knew that that's what was happening. I was so embarrassed, but there was nothing I can do. If I didn't give him that paycheck, when I went home, I'd get a good beating. So I had to give him my paycheck. And at the time, it wasn't direct deposit or anything like that. It was an actual check that you would take to the bank. So I'd have to sign it, and he would take it to the bank or
Was-
wherever he took it. I never had any money.
So this was like the late 90s.
Yep. My younger daughter was born in 1990.
Okay, so we're look
Yeah.
we're speaking of the late 90s for anyone who doesn't understand. You actually had a physical paycheck back then, no direct deposit and all of that stuff.
No,
So that sounds like financial abuse.
it was financial abuse.
Okay, so we have physical and domestic abuse, and we have financial abuse. And I know you mentioned that it was every type of abuse possible that you
Yes.
could think of, you were going through it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um, so now you're supposed to be a little bit more, have a little bit more freedom. And now he's controlling your paycheck. Um, did you ever
Yes.
try to call the cops or, try anything that might be able to help you that's
So
outside of the box that he might not know of or something?
so because I was working from Black Canada, I was able to have a phone line at home. So although we had an actual landline at home, because I was able to, because I worked in a department where, sometimes they'd have to call me in the evenings and stuff. So I had a phone installed in my bedroom, and I started calling a lawyer so that I can see how I can get out of this house with my children, because I did try to leave many times, but I was not able to leave with the kids, and there was no way that I was leaving my kids behind. So that's the reason why I never left in the first place. And then one time they got wind that I was leaving, and they took my kids away for 1 week. And my kids stayed at a very famous bakery people here in Canada. That was
Hmm.
their very good friend. And that's where my kids were. I found out about that afterwards. That the family of the bakery told me that that's where the kids was. And my kids were missing for 1 week.
Just because you tried to leave.
That's because I tried
Now,
to leave.
there's also a time that you were taken to Guyana and you were taken to a specific place and told that this is what will happen if you
Yes,
try to leave.
yes.
Tell us about that situation.
So I was pregnant with my second child at the time, um, and I was taken, and I thought at the time it was a joke that they were taking me into this place. So it's Myconi Creek, I think it's called, and it's got there was no roads really. There was like, if you want to go from one house to the next, you had to go with a boat, and and like for me at the time that I was experiencing this, I thought it was in another world. It was not, because I've never seen this place before. It was all like water and trees, and not a lot of people that was around, except if you wanted to go with a boat. And I didn't know how to swim, and I didn't know how to use a boat. And I was told that if I ever left, this is where my children would be. And I didn't even know where it was at the time.
So that right there scares you now to the point where you wouldn't even you take that thought out of your head, because it's one thing for you to be abused, for you to go through everything, but thinking of your kids as women, I know that's one of the hardest thing to have to deal with, right? Especially a threat that shows you where your kids could possibly end up, right?
Yes.
Let's pause for a moment. I do want to take some of the comments and acknowledge some of our viewers at the moment. Fadia Reynolds, good evening to you. Beatrice Adams, she says, "Oh my God, this is way too sad." Ash, good evening to you. Lots of women stay because of their children. You're an amazing mother.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
Avinash Chatterpal, he says, hate when kids are affected by situations such as this. It's sad. It's indeed sad, Avinash. Sherry says, did you ever end up with depression? Which will bring me to the next question in just a moment. Sharmila says, women do so much for the sake of their kids. Now, three kids at any point, do you think that it's really the kids that came along that had it not been, you didn't have any kids with him? Do you think you would have put up with all the things that you did?
No, no, absolutely not.
How many years were you married to him for total?
A little bit over 8 years.
8 years. That's a
Yeah,
long time.
yeah. It was,
Um,
yeah, it's closer to 9 years. Yeah.
Now you back to that question about what the person ever did you ever seek any type of help for this?
No,
Therapy, counseling after you got out of it,
no. My therapy was writing. That
writing.
was myself. I did self therapy. I wrote everything that I can remember that ever happened to me. I wrote it in a notebook, and there was no intentions of it ever being a book. It was my self therapy. I just wrote everything that I was feeling at the time.
So fast forward, we're at the point where you're trying to get out. You got a phone in your room. You're trying to make calls. Who did you try to call and what happened?
So at the time that I was trying to leave, it was at the same time my ex-husband and his brother and his family was was involved in illegal activities. And so while I was making the calls to the lawyer, my phone was actually tapped. And my boss knew that my phone was tapped because they had to get permission from her for my phone to be tapped.
Your work phone.
My work phone. Yeah,
Okay.
my work phone that I had at home in my bedroom.
Okay.
So my phone was tapped, and the police was listening to my calls, and they realized that I was not involved in the illegal activities, and they realized that I was trying to leave. So they came to my workplace and met me. And at the time that I was working um, at Bell Canada, I had hired people from my ex-husband's friends and all that, not knowing that those were the people that were watching my movements and my activities, because they were so involved in illegal activities that they didn't trust me. But I didn't know that I hired these people to watch me. I thought, these people needed a job and I was able to help them, so I hired them. So when the police came to my workplace, they saw the police came to my workplace. Although the men, they were dressed in suits and everything, they weren't like dressed in police clothes. But it was very suspicious, and so it went back right away to the family that the police came. So they were tipped off that the police was talking to me. But the police, it took their sweet time to remove me from that home, because they
They
had to
did.
get all kinds of warrants and all kinds of evidence and all that before they can come in. It so happened that I remember it clearly. It was we have Remembrance Day here in Canada, November 11th, November 11th, 1992. I'm not supposed to go to work because about Canada was a national holiday. Not all of Canada gets that holiday. It was banks and things like that, and the phone company. So I was not supposed to be at home. The night before, I had worked late, and when I came home, my ex-husband beat the crap out of me. He had me between a wall and the bed, and he was kicking the crap out of me. And that was the last straw, because I remember my little son came into the room and he saw, and I that was the last straw. I knew to myself that I could not let him grow up in that environment and to see that ever again. So I went to work on a day that was a holiday. So he obviously knew that something was up, because I don't go to work, and I don't go to work in sweats. I went to work in sweats. Um, so he knew, and he sat outside my workplace that whole day. But the police was able to get me out of the home that night and took me into a shelter. And that's how I left. I think if I didn't have the help of the police, it probably would have taken longer for me to leave.
Yeah. Now, I want to continue with that. So hold that thought. But a quick question from Amelia Lal. She says, many women are fearful of leaving their marriage because of the fear of losing custody of their children. What would you advise to anyone who feels this way? What step should they take?
they should first of all get a lawyer. And if a lawyer is not affordable, you can try to get legal aid from the government. Unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to get legal aid because I had a good job, and they didn't allow me to have legal aid. So, but you can first of all get a lawyer, and then make sure you have plans in place before you leave. Make sure you have a support system, even a friend or a family member that you can go to. Have a bag ready to go, because leaving can happen at any time. It can get triggered like me. It was triggered that night and I was not prepared. So have a support system, talk to a lawyer, make sure you have those things in place, and get the financial support that you need, because you're going to need the financial support when you leave. And I would say, yeah, and I would say plan ahead before you do anything drastic, because you need to make sure that you don't go back, or it doesn't, like, or that the person doesn't get the custody before you do. You
Shubha,
might end up getting joint custody, which is what, well, I got joint custody eventually. Like I had full custody at first, and then eventually he got every other weekend.
perfect. Let me keep that thought right there. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hibiscus has been a flagship restaurant in our community for a very long time. Come dine with us and enjoy our excellent food, drinks and service at any one of our many locations. We are located on 12418 101 Avenue and 22113 Jamaica Avenue. Hibiscus at Elliott's on the Mile in Freeport is one of our newest locations, along with 12402 Rockaway Boulevard. In Guyana at 91 Middle Street, Georgetown. Bring your family and friends and come visit us soon.
M&R Fire Fest is one of the newest hotspot in Richmond Hill. If you're looking to have a fun time or just chill, this lounge is the place to be. We celebrate all occasions, and our live entertainment and drink specials are amazing. We are located at 13123 Liberty Avenue. Come check us out and see what everyone is talking about.
Mandy's Cake Creations, serving traditional rum black cake with almond paste and royal icing. Non-alcoholic is also an option. Catering is available. Personalize your cakes and boxed favors for your birthday, engagements, weddings, work events and more. Shipping is also available within the United States. Please contact Mandy at 917-294-3500 on Instagram Mandy Cake Creations, and on Facebook Amanda Khan. Mandy's Cakes, a taste to bring you back home.
Flamingo Restaurant and Mantra Lounge. We are NYC's premier Caribbean restaurant and lounge, specializing in authentic West Indian, Chinese and Caribbean cuisine. Open every day for lunch and late nights. For delivery, find us on Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless and DoorDash. Visit our rooftop lounge upstairs on the weekends for a fun-filled night. We cater and take bookings for private events. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Flamingo Mantra. Our address is 120-06 Rockaway Boulevard, telephone 7188351000.
All right, we are back. Sandy, now here we are. You're almost out of it. The cops, I know you said that was like a scene out of a movie. And you wrote it was like a scene in the movies where the SWAT came in and there's like all these things happening. And you're in this moment right now watching people being arrested out of the house, and you're being taken away in a special vehicle with your children. Tell us about that moment.
To me, I always remember it was so surreal. Like I was out of my body. Like I was watching this thing unfold, and it was not me. Like I always look back at it now, and it was like almost like if I was watching a movie. There was like 27 cars pulled up on the lawn, and all these cops were everywhere, and this one cop was right next to me. She kept close to me, and I left with my children, no clothes. I had $500 that I had managed to save up when I started figuring out that I was gonna leave. And I didn't take any clothes. I didn't take any my car. I didn't take nothing. I didn't want anything because I felt like it was because they were involved in all these activities, these illegal stuff. Like I
Right.
didn't want anything from there, so I just walked away without anything.
And where did you end up when they took you away? Where did you end up?
I ended up in a shelter in the Durham region, and I stayed there for quite some time. I wasn't allowed to work because the case that the police had against them, the RCMP and the Durham police, it was so serious that I was not allowed to go to work until the case was over.
And that happened for about 6 months. You're
It
there with
was
your
it
kids in a
was
shelter.
about 6 to 8 months that I stayed in the shelter. Yeah.
Now, I do see in the comments a lot of people are saying have a plan in place. They're saying speak to your religious leaders. I do see someone, Amanda Khan, is saying the New York State chaplain is a great. They're all great ways to respond and have a plan in place. Also, we're speaking of women countries like Guyana and other places in the world where in the US and Canada we have more options. A lot of times we don't know what our options are when you're in situations like that, so it shows like this that we're actually trying to bring awareness so that people who are in these situations, they know who they can turn to. You're giving them a voice, Sandy, to say, hey, I'm here. I've been through it. I'm here to tell you there are options available for you. And, I would love for other people that's watching right now to share this as well, because this is how we spread awareness.
Yes.
You never know. You might have that friend or that family member that's going through it right now, but they're not telling you what they're dealing with because, just like Sandy, they're afraid. They're afraid of being judged. Yes,
Yeah.
we do judge a lot as a society. We do judge. And it's just so unfair that people are going through so much. They can't speak their mind because we judge them so much.
That's
Tonight
so
is the night that I'm asking all of you, be that person that someone can come to and tell how they're feeling, because there's a lot of people out there that's going through a lot. And if they don't feel confident in sharing it with you, you're not hearing it from them. So, um, thank you, everyone that's sharing ways that we can, be prepared and put ourselves in place that we can, have options. So let's continue, Sandy. You are finally out of this. You're in a
yeah.
shelter. 6 to 8 months go by, and you are ready to start a new life.
So in that 6 to 8 months, the only person I ever saw was one RCMP officer. And that's who I ended up with after I came out of the shelter.
Ended up
According
with
to that.
meaning that you started a relationship with him, kind
Yes.
of like fall in love kind of thing, right? You guys
Yes.
are,
Yes. I
and
actually did love him. I
you
was
love
in love.
him.
Yes.
So you're in a relationship now with this police officer, and you have 3 kids at the moment. And
Right.
was he married? Was he in a relationship? What was it like for him?
So when I met him, he told me that he was divorced and he had 2 children, and they were
Okay.
living in Kitchener, which is so far from where we were living.
Okay, so
Um,
go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And so when I was in the shelter, that was the only interaction I had with another human for the longest while. So, and he was kind to me. He was kind to the children. He was, like very good to me. He was very good looking too. He was very well kept. He was from Trinidadian background, but you couldn't tell he was very well spoken. Um, and so I fell in love.
You fell in love, and you decided, hey, this I haven't really had any contact with anyone for so many years. I felt unloved. Here is a guy who loves me. I'm sure there are sparks and all of that stuff happening at the moment. You found someone now that you can love and you can depend on, and probably showed you love, right? That you haven't seen
Yeah,
before.
love and
You started
respect.
a relationship, and you're out of this place now, thinking that you're starting a life with this guy. Here's my fairy tale. I'm about to, what happens?
So this guy was something else. He never left me alone. We were living together. My kids were calling him dad, and this went on for maybe 6 years. I was with him, and it was like I thought it was the perfect thing. Everyone thought, "Oh, you're so lucky. You got out of such a bad relationship, but you finally found someone who would love you and who would take care of you and who was like." My sisters used to tease him that he stuck to me like glue. He never left me alone. We went on vacations together. We went to Trinidad so many times, took the kids with us, met his family. And when Kevin was born, I think Kevin was about, so we planned to have a child. So we had Kevin, and Kevin was about, I would say, 16 months when I found out that he never left his wife. He was still with his wife.
Hold on. His wife. There's a wife involved. Okay. Let's pause
So,
for a moment. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
okay.
Kai Chu Restaurant has been serving our community for over 25 years. We offer an enticing selection of West Indian traditional dishes along with a fully stocked bar. Bring your family and friends to our newly renovated dining room to celebrate your special occasion or event with us. We do catering and we also deliver. Kai Chu has 2 locations to choose from. Support our community and eat local. Looking for something to get rid of that fine line wrinkles? Well, look no further. You can now indulge yourself with Truly Flawless. This one-of-a-kind, anti-aging caviar luxury face cream will give you that youthful-looking glow again. It's not only for you ladies, men can also benefit from this product too. Try it for yourself and see results within a week. Check out our website at www.trulyflawlessskincare.com and on Amazon Prime. We are also excited to launch our newest skincare products coming in March 2022.
Enos Driving School offers training for CDL licenses, including tractor trailers, trucks, and school buses. Just think, with a CDL license, you can have access to thousands of driving jobs at large companies such as FedEx, UPS, MTA, or New York Sanitation. Enos Driving School also offers defensive driving courses and training classes for cars and motorcycles, all taught by their college-trained instructors who can even schedule your road test appointments. Inquire about other driving and training packages as well. You might even be qualified for their free CDL training, as they are a certified institution with the New York State Workforce One program. Call Enos Driving School today. They've been serving our community for over 10 years.
Sherry's Weakness for Sweetness is a family-owned and operated bakery with a West Indian flair. We specialized in custom cakes, decorative desserts, and a contemporary spin on traditional West Indian cuisine. We are located at 114-07 Jamaica Avenue. Hours of operations are Tuesday through Friday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Memories should always be this sweet. Come visit us today.
All right, welcome back. Now, Sandy, we were at the point where you mentioned wife. Before we do that, most people will say, hey, you just got out of a terrible situation with your ex-husband. Why run into a relationship so quickly?
So I didn't really go in right away. It took about a year before I actually started
Okay.
having any relationship with him, because I definitely was a little bit timid. But at the time, I was young. I wanted to be loved, like every woman that I know.
Right.
I wanted to feel that protection and that security of being loved and being taken care of.
And I think at the time you were about 27, right?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I was about 27 with three kids and divorced.
You want to feel love, you have all these things, you just went through, the hell of a time for 8 years. So here is someone who showed you love, you're vulnerable, and you started relationship. All right.
Yeah,
Fast forward, now we're at the point where there is a wife involved. After 6 years together, several vacations, a kid together, you finally found out there is a wife.
yeah. There is
And
a wife.
then
Yeah.
tell me what is that like? What are you thinking? I can't grasp how I will feel at this point. And how did you find out this that he has a wife?
So I know he had the children, like he was divorced, right?
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes he would go and see them, and obviously, I met the son. I never met the daughter. Um, and I met the son, and the son was extremely nice. But what did he tell his son who I was? Like, I don't know, because his son came to my mom's house and everything, to my house, to my mom's house. I don't understand. Anyway, the son was young though at the time, but no one stopped him from seeing his child, like his children,
Right.
and eventually he said, no, I don't want to see them anymore. They moved away. They've gone to Kitchener. It's too far. The kids are older now. They're in high school, and they don't want to see me. So I used to always kind of push him to see his kids. Who wouldn't want to see their kids, right? And I wanted him to be a good father because he's a good father to my children. My children were calling him dad, and they loved him. My older son wanted to be a police officer just like him. Um, but when I found out was, I started missing money from my account, and like I said, I had a good job, and he would always make these excuses, and we had this fight, and we would never have a fight, and if we did have an argument, we never went to bed angry with each other. We always solved it and everything. And that one day we had a fight, and he walked out of the house. He had just came back from Trinidad, and so I tried to call him, and he won't answer. And then I figured out where he was from his address book. I went through his address book, and there was like numbers there, and I tried calling, and I just kind of went where his addresses were, and I found him about 2 blocks from where we were living, and that's where his ex-wife was. Well, his wife. It wasn't
His
his
current
ex-wife.
wife,
He
who
never
he
left
said
her.
was his ex-wife. So
He
you
told
you
me
go
it
to
was his
the
ex-wife.
door, you showed up at the house, you're at the door, and what happens?
I rang the doorbell. I don't know how I got so much courage. I remember leaving my older son with the kids, and he was like 11 at the time. And I said, and I rang the doorbell, and a woman answered the door. And at the time, I still wasn't thinking that that was his wife, and I still didn't think that that was his ex-wife either. I was thinking that that was his sister because he told me that his kids were with his sister. And so I said hi, and I introduced myself as his wife.
As his wife, yes.
Because she asked me, who the hell are you? And I said, I'm his wife. She goes, no, you're not. I'm his wife. And I was like, I still couldn't, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't understand what was happening. And then he came to the door, and they had this, you can, like, they were fighting with each other. And then she was in a nightgown or something. And he told me to leave, and if I didn't leave, he was going to shoot me. And then he turned to her, and he called her some weird name, and he said, can you go get my gun, that if she doesn't leave, I'm going to shoot her. Could you imagine the person that you spent almost 8 years with again, the person that you love, the person that you trusted, the person that you left your children with every single morning? I went to work early, left my children with him. He was my life. And could you imagine hearing
Now,
that
now you're
I could be
feeling,
shot?
yeah, betrayed is what comes to mind as I listen to you. Um, my gosh. We thought, like, the first one going through everything, and now here you are, almost you found a little bit of happiness, because Sure, during the time that you guys were seeing each other, going on vacations, I saw one comment. How did he go on vacation with you? You mentioned you guys were living together, right? What was, I mean, I would love to hear the wife side of the story. How do you do
I
things?
wish I can meet her and ask her what did he tell her, because he was with us all the time. My mom would have Jandy, he would be helping all the Jandy, he would be coming home with me. The thing is, he was a police officer, and he was with the RCMP, and that's like the FBI in the States. And so he worked nights, he worked undercover, he did surveillance, so he didn't have a regular time to come home or to leave and all that. So if
Hmm.
he was telling me that he had to go one night to do surveillance, he probably was going to
The
home,
wife.
to his other home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't understand how he did it,
So
because we went on vacation for 3 weeks at a time. And he was with us the whole time when he was in Trinidad. And but you have to read the book. The book actually tells exactly how it
yeah.
happened.
Yeah, guys, you have to read the book. So if you want to know more, read the book. And then if you're thinking, if she does get that interview with the wife, let's say she does speak to the wife and
I wish
she
you could
tells
talk
that
to him.
part, that would be book 3 or 4, right? So you guys
Yes,
keep
that was.
watching, follow her because there is some, different sides to the story. Now, here you are, 4 kids now, and you had the heartbreak of your life, because it seems like the first marriage there wasn't too much love and too
No,
much
no.
expectation in that marriage. The
Yeah,
second one,
yeah,
however,
yeah.
you are head over heels in love, betrayal. I see this book having a lot of different parts to it, and I can't wait for it. But for anyone who is watching, if you don't know about the book is called The Unwanted Wife. And how can we get the book, Sandy?
SandyMac.com. That's where you can get it. Yes,
Perfect. Now the book is a bestseller,
yes. It's an Amazon bestseller. Yes,
Amazon bestseller. Get the book today, guys. There's so much details in that book. The book has been going crazy. As a matter of fact, there is a second book that's coming out.
yes.
Uh, Tell us about the second book.
So the second book, I guess this is a prequel of the first book. And the first book, in the beginning of the book, I spoke a little bit about child abuse, and that how I was sexually abused as a child. So this second book is going to delve a little bit more into that, as well as my past life before I got married. So things that happen in our lives, and why our parents, why society allows, well, kind of pressures you into hiding things, or keeping secrets, because you're too ashamed to bring it out in the open, or to tell the truth about what exactly happened. So I will be telling the truth, and this is the book cover here. I don't know if the light, can you see it?
I can see it. The Ungracious Daughter is what it's called.
Yes,
And to our conversation before the show started, Sandy, we spoke about a possible movie in the making, right?
we're working on
And
it.
we have viewers that are asking about that, a movie. Um, it's in the works, guys. That's all we're gonna say for now. Anything is possible, so just keep following Sandy, and we things are happening. All right.
And if you know anybody who wants to buy the movie rights, let me know.
Yes, absolutely. So here you are. We spoke about it. You're distraught, terrible. You have 4 kids now, and you are. What do you do next with your life?
I delved into volunteering, and at the temple. My life was at the temple. I've done a lot. Like, I've been volunteering at the temple for the last maybe 30 years. And then I started my dance school. And then obviously I had only one income. The dance school I taught for free, because that was my giving back to the community. So my dance school is free. Still is to this day. But I started also a wedding business. And so I started decorating at the temple for weddings. And then that's what got me and the word out there that I can decorate. So I started a decorating business as well. So, and that kept me busy. I did meet some idiots in after that, and I did have a very bad relationship again after that, but it was nothing serious that I need to delve into.
Okay.
And you know, you were, as women, we're always looking to be loved. We're always looking for that relationship. And so after, eventually, as my kids got older, I gave up on looking. I gave up on finding that right person. And when I gave up is when I found Thomas.
You found Thomas.
Yes.
We're not going to go to break. We're going to let you tell the story of Thomas. So you
Okay.
found Thomas, and here you are with Thomas, so in love
Yes, Thomas. I found Thomas on Match.com. Believe
on
it or
Match. Oh,
not. Yes. And it was not something that I wanted to do. I did it. My daughters and my friends, they kind of like pushed me to do it, and I met some real idiots on Match.com, to be honest with you. And at the end of it, I said, "This is it. I'm not doing this. I'm not going on again. I'm not wasting my time. I just want to live my life by myself with my cat." And my daughters were laughing at me because they said I was going to become a cat woman, and I was going to have 8 cats and a rocking chair, and that's how my my life was going to end up. And at the time that my subscription for Match.com was going to be over, that's when I met Thomas. And when I met him, I knew that that was the one.
so most people at this point, right, will say, "Hey, I give up on love." Dated several idiots, and then you had two failed relationships, and you're done. But not you. You
No, I
said,
actually
"Wait."
had 3 failed relationships because that idiot guy, um, I lost my house and everything after that. So that's a whole other book. That's
Right.
living with
So
narcissism.
you didn't give up, though. You found the love of your life, and here you are, right? You are your coach. You just got fully
I got
certified.
certified. Yes, I'm a life and health coach.
You have your dance school,
Yes,
cats,
cat,
grandkids,
grandkids.
and you also wrote two books already. Book two is coming out.
Yes, in
Um,
December.
you're living your best life,
I'm
Sandy.
living my best life.
You
So
are
I want
living
to
your
say to
best life.
all, yes, I want to say all to all the women out there who are going through anything traumatic in your life, any abuse, you don't feel like you're ever going to find love, you don't feel like you're ever going to be worthy enough. I want to tell you, don't give up on yourself. You can give up on anything else, but don't give up on yourself. Be the person to live your best life. Empower yourself. Empower you to live your
Exactly.
best life.
Today, you're also coaching other women.
Yes,
You're teaching them how to be self-reliant. You're teaching them how to be strong and how to live their best life as
yes,
well.
yes. And
And
there is a 12-step program that I've put together to live your best life, to empower
exactly.
you.
So anyone who is interested, you can contact Sandy and you can get that information as well. Um, through it all, Sandy, everything that you've been through, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Through all of it, the biggest lesson that I've learned is that you don't give up on yourself and on your children.
Absolutely.
Don't give
Agree.
up. Yeah, be the person that you want. You know that you want to be. Be the person that you were born to be.
And as you speak, I see some very strong woman that's watching us tonight. Rihanna Mohammed, single mom, 3 kids. Super proud of her. I see Ash, one of my true followers and a dear friend of mine, Amanda Khan. Good night to all of you, beautiful ladies, and thank you for joining us, especially during this month of uh, Women's International Women's Month, and yesterday being International Women's Day. I thank all of you guys. Sandy, before you leave us here, any advice, anything that you would like to say to the young girls, woman that's watching us right now?
Yes, be true to yourself.
Be true to yourself.
Be true to
Great
yourself.
message there. As we close the show tonight, I do want to reflect on some of the things that Sandy said. Be that support, be that person that another woman or a young girl can come to and they can say, this is what I'm going through. Listen, don't judge. I would like to see more of us be that person that can people can rely on. We're not empowering women when we're judging them or we're telling them that, they should make decisions rashly and that kind of thing. Empowerment is listening, advising appropriately. And if you cannot advise and you don't know the right answers, seek the right answers, but be there for our women and our young girls. Uh, Tonight's show has taught me women are stronger than they think. I Listening to Sandy has taught me so much. Um, I saw a woman whose strength and resilience is beyond words. She refused to be a victim. Instead, she survived and decided to live her best life by telling her story and helping other survivors. Let's continue to stand up so that every young girl gets a chance to live in a world where they can be themselves. Speak freely and have equal opportunities. I would like to thank my guest, Sandy, my sponsors, and you, my viewers, for your continued love and support. Until next time, be resilient, be passionate. Good night to you.
Thank you.